how are things in California? What are you doing?
Just training, I'm a mom and a wife, so still like training, we're focused, but the life keeps going on, we have responsibilities that you need to do. But yeah, just training hard. We have like 4 weeks left for my fight. So I really believe this is like a very important fight. It's like, I think whoever wins here could fight the eventual winner of Zhang Weili and Rose, so it's very, very close. And yeah, I'm excited. Just training hard.
How does that change your mindset, knowing that that's on the horizon?
I mean, I was looking for that so soon, I was like, man, I'm ready for it. I mean, this fight kind of came up, and I'm I accepted it because you don't want to take too much time off, and I saw like that they have the rematch and everything like that. But after my last fight, I was like, okay, if they give me like opportunity, we're ready, let's do it, So, I mean, it's always good to have like a little bit extra, I guess, like studying of yourself, as a fighter, get a little bit more time before like the true test. I guess the test is like to be the champ. So I'm testing myself one more time. My last fight was 1 round and kind of the ground the whole time. So it's good just to see, maybe I'll be able to see if I have any, like, some points where I can get better, like on my striking, if the fight goes. It's 5 rounds, this fight, it's a main event. So I can really like tune anything if I have the opportunity, but hopefully I don't need to. Hopefully just to get in, get out, and no injuries, and that's all good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with your progression. Your last 4 fights have been fantastic. The buzz is built around you. It's an interesting predicament for you, isn't it? Because your strengths are so strong, but is there part of you that sort of wants to get punched in the head a few times as well, just to sort of on that learning curve? Not too hard maybe, but just take a couple.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, definitely I think more like me punch more than get punched, but just working like that reflex and, just kind of getting through that. Like I think 2 fights ago, I had broke my nose in the second round, and it was good, like adversity for me to get through. And man, now I feel like, okay, if that ever happens again, it wasn't that bad, like I got through it and like we still push forward and okay, and so just kind of, I hope I can be able to feel those things, and like, okay, if the plan A doesn't work, we still have like the plan B and plan C and plan D, and everything's good. We're going to win in all areas. People always say like it's MMA. So it's not just jiu-jitsu. It's not just striking. We have everything, and I'm trying to be like complete fighter. I know it's good to know that like, okay, a lot of the girls are good strikers, but there's very few that are good ground girls, like jiu-jitsu practitioners, like 100% like me. So I think it's all really hard for them to kind of get on the same level of the jiu-jitsu part as me. So I just need to be able to, get them to respect my striking enough that I can take to the ground easy and, just have fun on the ground, So that's the goal.
That's the goal. Do you sense that when you enter the cage that they're wary of your unique skill set or how elite you are at that part of the game?
Yeah, 100%. I can tell, like, I feel like from the interviews before the fights, and all my fights, like maybe 2 months before, I can feel that they're like, oh, we don't want to go to the ground with her. That's, and that's like 100%, and I definitely don't think that like, because I'm so good on the ground, everyone's like, oh, her stand-up's not good. It's just like kind of overshadows my striking all the time. But I've been doing just striking every single day, for the last year, So it's like, of course, it's not going to be like the girls who train striking for 10, 20 years, but I'm just training my striking, just training my striking. And yeah, I think that's when like kind of surprise knockouts come out, and happen when they're kind of so preoccupied about, so worried about the ground, and getting taken down, that all of a sudden, like, okay, this nice, double jab and straight right hand comes in or something like that happens, So I definitely feel like their whole training camps is all just takedown defense, ground defense, like how to get back up, use the cage, that kind of thing. And just kind of think like, oh, I'm going to try to like bully her on the stand up or things like that. But even that, they don't commit 100% on their striking, because I think they don't want to get too close in case I grab them or something like that, So I think the ground game is a very good strength to have,
And obviously looking at Marina's last few fights, she's gone down a few times. That must give you some confidence because she's going to want to stand and trade, isn't there? There's not much there's not much surprise about the fact that she's going to want to stand and trade with you, is it?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I think she's a great fighter. You know, she has a lot of experience. I think she has like maybe 16 or 17 fights. She's fought like a lot of tough girls in the UFC, you know, but even like on the fights that she's won and the ones she's lost and the ones that have been draw, she's been taken down by everyone, you know. So even the fights that she win, at least one round she's been taken down during that fight. And the ones that she lost, of course, she was taken down, you know. So it's definitely, when I see that, I think like, okay, I'm not taking away from it how good she is, but you can see like that's her weak point, you know, it's just the takedowns. And these are girls that like to take down and just kind of do ground and pound, you know. And for me, I just need to get the takedown, then I'm going to start to do like, okay, armbar choke, you know, leg lock, you know, triangle, whatever, you know, all these different submissions. So I think that's like, people say, oh, what's the strategy? It's not really strategy, you know, it's just kind of style, you know. Mine is to go to the ground. I don't want to get any knees or elbows. I know she does a lot of kind of Muay Thai clinch and things like that. She's tall for the division. And, you know, I'm a little bit shorter. So, I mean, we definitely see some dangerous things that we don't want to get caught up in. But yeah, I see that every single girl even the strikers took her down, you know. So I said, okay, if even a striker was able to take her down, and I have 25 minutes to get her down to the ground once, that's how I feel. I believe just once we'll be able to finish. I feel like really confident that we can put on hopefully a good show for this fight.
And that thought's going to be ticking around in her brain box, isn't it? That, you know, there's that threat.
Yeah, you know, they've been talking about this fight since December of last year. So I know she's had like, if she's smart, you know, that I know she is, you know, she's a great fighter and she has a good team behind her. I know they probably like, okay, the UFC wants this fight. It didn't happen in December. It didn't happen in May. It didn't happen in July. And finally in October. So almost 1 year to be training, kind of preparing for this fight, you know, training a lot of jiu-jitsu. I imagine she was training. So I know I was prepared for, okay, they're trying to push Marina. So let's just kind of, I've been training with like taller people for a while now, you know, just kind of getting used to getting that distance, closing the distance. So I think she's definitely going to be prepared for sure.
Nice one. And I mean, the past 2 years have been a wild ride for you, isn't it? The baby's come 4-0, 3 bonuses, up to 4th in the ranks. I mean, how is your headspace? It must be a wonderful time to be you.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I mean, but even before my daughter was born, I had like kind of one of my almost knockouts. You know, I was able to like land a right hand, but I went to jiu-jitsu, and then, you know, it's like, okay, let me just choke just in case. But I didn't make weight, so everyone's like, oh, of course, if you wouldn't make weight, you could get the bonus, but when you don't make weight, you're not eligible for a bonus. You know, so it's like, man, if you wouldn't make weight. So I was like, man, I have what it takes. You know, I feel I had potential, but I was kind of just living that crazy like life, you know, like single, you know, young girl in the UFC, you know, a lot of attention, not taking serious, but from what I thought was taking serious at that time, you know, now I realize what taking serious is, you know, just the responsibility. And, you know, I got pregnant and I saw like kind of the sponsorships, everything changed. And now just to be able to kind of focus and say like, man, the more you do things the right way, the more the things flow, you know, they start to really go, and almost seems easier. You think it's easier, but obviously you make the training hard. Everything keeps getting harder, but the results start showing and things like that. So it's definitely flowing. I feel like I'm kind of getting the maturity that I needed to be like, you know, champ, you know. People aren't champ just because they're very good at fighting, you know, they're champ because they have a good, you know, mindset, because they're mature, like in their career, because they have a lot of experience, a lot of different things, you know. So I definitely feel like I'm getting there, and I think can be any time really to be the champ. But I really want to make sure that when I become the champ, I stay there, you know. So they were kind of rushing me a lot in the beginning, like, oh, the next Ronda Rousey and all these things. And I'm just kind of happy I'm kind of build my own story, you know, like, man, came back 4 months after the pregnancy and really kind of showed people like, hey, you know, you can even be better after you have a pregnant, you know. Sometimes it's like a blessing in disguise, you know, that you see like they think you're stopped, or even like injury, you know. Mine was a pregnancy, but if you have like injury or, you know, ACL surgery, something like that, and you take like 4 months, 5-6 months off, you can come back and be even better, you know, and I'm really happy that that's part of my story now.
And speaking of the mindset, your experience in jiu-jitsu, did that help you when you made the transition, the fact that you've been through so many wars, like all around the world at such an elite level? Or did you have to, is it a different mindset in MMA?
No, it's very similar, you know, that the only difference is like, one is like the gentle art, you know, jiu-jitsu is gentle art. So we're like tapping and no injury and that's it. And the other one, it's like, you have to have that kind of cold ice in your heart, you know, to be able to, you like the person, you're a very like professional, man, she's so nice, but I have to like try to elbow her in the face and break her nose. So, you know, it's crazy what you do to people you like, you know what I mean? So definitely that's the only difference, but that's what I think made the big difference after my pregnancy was that it was my coach, Jason Perley, he was able to like teach me how to see striking and just fighting in the whole MMA like I did in jiu-jitsu. It's just kind of put my style first, you know, not go out there and see what happens, you know, really go out there and put your, like you choose the pace and you kind of start to set things up. And I said, oh, so I can like use my striking to set up different things, you know. I was just kind of throwing bombs and hoping something lands, you know. And so it's definitely like, okay, just like jiu-jitsu, you know, maybe I act like I'm going to sweep you, but really I just want you to defend so I can go to armbar, you know. And once I start to understand that, I'm like, hey, it's hard for people to, one, it's already hard for people, girls like to punch in the face and things like that. And then to really like see someone come at you so aggressive and be thinking about all these different things, it's very challenging, you know. So once I kind of understood that and start to see things and understand the fight, it's very similar to when I start to get that pace in jiu-jitsu. Like, because when I first got my black belt, I won every world championship until black. In my first 2 years at black belt, I had like ACL surgery, and like I did good. I got like podium, second, third place, but everyone expected me to get to the black belt and just win, you know. And it took me like 2 years to get through, you know. I'm fighting girls that were black belt for 10, 15 years, you know. At black belt, they have no age or nothing, you know. So you can be the first year black belt going against like the black belt that's black belt for 10 years, you know. So, you know, I would lose things by little mistakes, like advantages or strategies or little things like that, until I got really the understanding. So, man, okay, I need to go there and push the pace and put my game first. And now I take that, and I have that kind of maturity in MMA.
It's about being a bit nasty, isn't it? Getting a bit of a mongrel into you, as they say in Australia.
Yeah, you know, it's like, man, even if I don't have the best striking, but you need to kind of defend a little bit when you have these hands coming, you know, someone's throwing punches at you no matter what, you know. So it's still something that they need to like think about, you know. So I really understand that now and kind of getting more confidence with my striking, not to be like a striker, you know, but just to set up a little bit more my takedowns and get to the ground.
And you're up for Fighter of the Year at the Fighters in the MMA Awards too. I mean, how much does that mean to you in your progression to sort of have that recognition?
Yeah, it's so great. You know, it's one of the best awards, you know, Fighter of the Year, female fighter, you know. So up with I think like my first year in MMA, I got nominated for Submission of the Year by them, you know, by the Fighting Awards. And that was good just for me to say like, man, okay, so I do have something maybe different than a lot of the other girls, because it's my first year in MMA and my submission was like something different, you know, it called a lot of attention. So to think that, man, I'm still in the process to go to the belt and things like that, and they're acknowledging me and recognizing me for that, it's such a dream come true. And I feel so happy to be part of, you know, Valentina Chemcheko, Rose, a lot of great girls on there. I think Chris is on there. So it's really, really cool.
Yeah, and Jason's up too. How important has he been to your career?
Been so important, you know. It's definitely like, I'm like from where I was before, I don't say like, oh, I lost because of my last coaches or anything like that. But you really see like how things start flowing when you have someone that knows how to really talk to their athletes, knows what you need to do to get the fighter to be the best of the world. What he's done with BJ Penn, Bisping, Borg, he knows what it takes, and it's like, man, I never needed him to like prove to me anything, just from like the day one, the first thing he put me like on a tire to do like some base work. And I said, man, okay, like I can do what he tells me to do. And I said, okay, just my base getting better. My punches are better, everything. I said, man, he really knows what he's doing, and it's not like putting me down all the time. And, he's a great coach. He knows when I like am feeling bad on the training, he knows everything. So he really is, man, one of the best coaches out there.
And this fight, are you looking for an early finish, or do you think it's going to go? Do you want to test yourself over 5 rounds? I suppose you will. Everyone, it's a stupid question, isn't it? Of course, you want it to be over as soon as possible. Yes.
No, the goal is like definitely to get in there and finish in the first round. Hopefully get a bonus, and just be ready to whatever the next step is. The next fight. If I can get another fight in this year, hey, that'd be awesome. But yeah, get in there and get out. And I know it's 5 rounds, but just the fact that it's a main event, I know there will be a lot of people watching. So it's good. It's good everywhere. It's good for contract renegotiation. It's good for just to see numbers and see kind of what my potential is as a fighter, what kind of money I can bring in for the UFC and things like that. And I'm excited. what I can show.
Brilliant. And obviously I'm out here in Hong Kong and in China, so the Zhang Weili thing is huge out here, and you're just on the cusp, knocking on the door of getting into that sort of, right at the top. How do you see this fight playing out between Rose and Weili, the second one?
Man, so crazy. It's such a crazy fight, I thought that Zhang Weili was going to win the first one, so it was a big surprise for me. The knockout that Rose did, I think for a lot of people, kind of that soon, Yeah, I don't know how it's going to be on the second one. I mean, I think Rose will pull it off. I think Rose will win, but I don't think we'll be fast like I think we'll be like a Joanna fight, Zhang Weili and Joanna fight, kind of the whole 5 rounds, just show and put it off. I think from what I know of Rose, she has a little bit more ground. I know she's a little bit kind of crazier on the ground, the long legs, doing kind of like heel hooks, things like that. So I think that if they goes to the ground, Rose might be able to hold off a little bit Zhang Weili from any submissions. So I think that's the only thing I see Rose ahead of her, because it was a great knockout, but I felt like kind of was just like almost like a lucky shot. I don't think that will happen again, but we'll see. Zhang Weili, she looks really focused. I follow her on Instagram, so it's crazy. Everyone I start to follow on Instagram, I end up fighting. So maybe it's a sign, I don't know.
Yeah, Weili's Instagrams are a little bit scary, aren't they? That sort of stuff she puts her through. What do you think her strengths are as a potential future opponent? When you look at her, what do you see in front of you?
Man, I see like this super athlete. I think that she just all her drills and her training that she does, you can tell she's so focused, and it's hard to see girls that train as much as she does. It's like even guys, it's hard to see girls or guys train as much as she does. So definitely think that her mind is very like, even though she got that knockout, I feel like her mind, her reaction is so fast, everything, because she just drill all the time. And I hate drills, with jiu-jitsu, we never do drills, so for me, it's very like, okay, I need to have some type of surprise for her. I think that's kind of how Rose won, was like kind of that surprise kick. And I think for me, that would be like the same way if I was ever to fight her. But I think my strength training coach is like, yeah, for me to fight Rose, maybe we're ready now. For me to fight Zhang Weili, we need to like get the strength training, the preparation a little bit up there, So I'm like, okay, let's start now and just keep adding on,
That's the thing with Rose, isn't she? She's always been full of surprises. There's such a sort of, that's her uniqueness as a fighter, isn't it? The surprise, as with that foot, right? It's like, wow, where did that come from? And it's over.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, man, it can be anywhere. It can be from the ground, can be from like a flying armbar, it can be on the stand-up, can be something that, man, it's just, I think for Rose, it's just her mind, I think that's the only thing that kind of is her weakness, is that sometimes can be like holding her back a little, And but I mean, hey, it's like sometimes overconfident mind, too, can like be bad for you too. You can miss some things, and so I think Rose, and they're both great fighters. I'm excited to see who will win, and maybe I'll be a potential opponent for them in the future.
Cool. And what's the next month? What have you got planned out? A bit of surfing?
Yeah, actually, my husband, he has a couple competitions this month. So he actually asked me like, hey, you wanna jump in? I said, man, I think if it was like next week, I would do it still. But the thing here is that the water's so cold, so I get like a lot of ear infections and stuffy nose, things like that. So I'm like, I don't know if I'll do before the fight. Let's wait until after. But after we'll probably go to Barbados, Hawaii, have a little family vacation. He has some competitions. That's good about the surf competitions because he goes to compete, but we have a family vacation at the same time. It's always like some crazy cool place, it's fun.
It's one of those sports like golf, isn't it? You don't exactly go to terrible places.
Yeah, exactly, But the UFC is like, man, Vegas, Apex, like the heat, every time.
All right, Mackenzie, thank you very much for your time. Good luck.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was great to talk to you.
Well,
hope to talk to you again soon after.